Hello, my name is Kyle Persyn, and today we're going to take a look at Project 3. In my Project 3, I created a P1 and a P2 file. We are looking at the P1 file. The first thing I did in this file was create a helper function. This helper function was get file size. This comes helpful later whenever we are trying to pass over the file into the shared memory. In order to create shared memory, you have to do several things, like doing shm open in order to create the main memory. After that, you must truncate the size and use mmap to properly set up the shared memory. After this, all you need to do is just read the file into the shared memory, and then P2 can access it at a later point. In P1, we also set up semaphores so that we can enforce the order and make sure that P2 is done before we send it back to P1. The lines on 16 and 18 are the incrementing and decrementing of the semaphores in order to enforce the order and signify that P2 is all done and ready to transition over into P1. This is my P2 class. The P2 class does more of the functionality. I started in P2 by creating several helper functions, like does contain word. This searches to see if a certain line contains the target word, even whenever it is not case sensitive. I also created a struct, which we will use for arguments that we will use in the find and output helper function. Inside the main method, we first opened up the semaphores that were already created, and then we opened up the shared memory. We initialized the shared memory and created variables so that we could access and change the shared memory later in the program. We also created a vector of strings that holds the contents of what was in the shared memory. We then created 4 threads that we can individually search through the file that was put into the shared memory and return the output that was searched for using our helper functions and threads. After our threads do the searching, we then need to send it back to P1. In order to do this, we had to create a string called sendResult and convert it into a character array. We then used mmap and memory copy in order to send it back to P1. We then unlinked the semaphores, and all was good and ready to go. I will now transition to show you how the code works and functions. In order to run this program, you're going to need 2 separate windows. In the first one, you type the executable p1.out along with the input text file that you're going to use. For this case, we are going to use our small input text file. In the other, you want to run p2.out along with the target word. As you can see, P2 shows what was in the file along with the threads and where the word was found in each of these threads, and then sends it back to P1, and it is displayed at the bottom. We are now going to try this with a larger text file. When using a larger text file, it's the same process. Instead, we are going to pass in a larger text file. As you can see, the input size is 4202. You can see the contents on the right side are a lot longer. However, the threads only found one instance of our target word nov, and on the left side, it also output this exact target line. This is my Project 3. Thank you for watching.